welcome to Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. I'm Richard Dugan, and it is that Wednesday. It is that time, the 9 o'clock hour, and we are here with LUMARI to continue our conversation here on Tell Me Your Story of the 12 streams of consciousness. And let me just read you folks something. This is from the book. We hope you'll get a copy at lumari.com. And basically it's crystal reflections shine in translucent wisdom, sending meaningful messages in context, all equal, liberated, valued, knowing, seen and felt, noticed, appreciated, and present in suchness. And if that, I've never seen the word before, but we'll talk about that maybe, suchness. We're going to be talking about the stream of neutrality. LUMARI, great to have you back again to continue our conversation on these 12 streams of consciousness.
Oh, Richard, it's such a delight and a pleasure to be here with you and everyone listening. Oh, thank you so much.
Well, you know, the things that I read as we go through this book, and obviously I'm reading it as we're going, really very, very cool. I'm going to pre-announce that next week is really fortuitous, but I'll give you just a teaser that we have a special guest in our 8 o'clock hour that will come prior to our conversation with LUMARI in this 9 o'clock hour next Wednesday, the 14th of February. It's going to be a lot of fun. But today we're going to be talking about, again, the stream of the stream of consciousness and the stream of neutrality, and it is a focus. It is a focus centeredness, and that's interesting because it's. I made the joke before we started. The stream of Switzerland,
right?
Because they are considered to be, at least as far as I can remember, they were like the one country that was neutral in just about all aspects. Tell us about the stream of neutrality.
Well, one of the things, and everybody that's listening, as we talk about all the different streams, I want you to also feel if that theme, that energy, that description, that vibration, that emotion, whatever connects you with that stream, see if it resonates with you. Because a lot of times, we've done several streams, but a lot of times you will resonate with one stream more than another. You will feel more comfortable with one or another stream. So I want you to, as we're talking, as Richard and I are talking, I want you to play there. The stream of neutrality, normally when we say neutrality, people think of a non-position. They think of not giving one thing more importance than another, or not siding with one thing and another. But when you talk about neutrality for the streams of consciousness, it's a centralization, being focused in the center, which means you're not focused outside. You're not looking at yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. It's a really beautiful centering frequency. So if you think of the stream of neutrality and you think of centering, everybody who's done meditations, the first thing you do is you take breaths and you center yourself. You move away from all the distractions. And one of the things that's beautiful about the stream of neutrality is that it has these really beautiful high-level vibrations that give you an understanding and a connection without choice, without one better than the other. And so what's interesting is that you feel related, you feel connected, you feel the reciprocity of everything, and you're not caught in one thing or another. So you can actually cherish the importance of everything.
Interesting. And I like the distinction. It's not sitting on the fence.
Right.
It's not the concept of sitting on the fence. No, I'm not going to take a position. It's centering, if you will, in the middle. And is this the process where we want to learn how to better understand in the case of two sides, both sides of a situation, a conversation, a conflict, whatever it is, that we stay in the middle, but we want to learn and understand about both sides. And if there are more than two sides, 3, 4, however many sides there are.
Exactly. And so the thing is that a lot of times we're trained in if you choose one thing, then the other isn't as good as what we chose, and all of those different things. But this is a beautiful consciousness. So you are aware of everything that you can be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
You're not emotionally attached anywhere. And you're watching what is happening and being present to it and listening to it and seeing what's being said. Which, when you think of it, if we could, because neutrality is a very high-level way of being. Mm-hmm. Imagine just being in conversations, and we're not talking politics.
Right.
We're talking about, I'm going to make something crazy. We're talking about redecorating your house.
Okay.
And everybody has a different idea of what colors to put in and what room to do first and everything else. So everybody's on the same page. They want to redecorate the house, which is a good thing. But everybody has an opinion. And if you're in the stream of neutrality, you're listening to all the opinions. You're not going, oh, yeah, I like green better than blue. Oh, maybe red would be good. You're not in that. You're actually a vehicle of paying attention and listening. And so it's like being omni-focused, where you can vibrationally listen to everything that's there, respect everything that's coming, and then be in that space, because neutrality isn't necessarily where you have to choose, but you're really recognizing and appreciating what's there.
Mm-hmm.
That's, for most people, because we're not raised with neutrality, there are people in the world who have it. They have that gift. They can be in that moment and they can listen to everybody, and they're not going to get upset. They're not going to, all of that stuff, right? They're just a beautiful listening device, so to speak.
Right.
But most of us are trained to choose a side.
Yeah. I would think that if you are, let me rephrase that. I think that if you have siblings in a family situation, that you are going to learn the art of taking sides. I grew up with 4 sisters and 1 brother and my father and, of course, mother. Well, on one level, my brother and I and Dad, we were outnumbered. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't about the numbers. It was more about, and I think what you're talking about here, it was more about the outcome, the decisions, if you will, that were focused on. And our parents, I suppose, guided us to stay focused on. This is not about winning and losing. This is about how we can, especially in the size home we grew up in, coexist together in this small little space, okay, and have a good time, have a good life,
Yeah.
Not taking sides and saying, oh, well, you guys got to do that last time, so we get to do this time. And that's not how it necessarily works. I suppose you could have that kind of an agreement, but for what we're talking about here, I think my parents did a great job in that regard of teaching us the difference between, would the right word be compromise?
Yeah, well, what you're talking about is compromise, but neutrality is bigger than that.
Bigger, okay.
So neutrality is not, when you're looking at it, you can imagine the same situation, and every single thing is valued, and every single thing is appropriate. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at the wholeness. So it's like you're in a way, it's like you're in the unified field, and all the particles are talking to you, and you can see all the different reasons why those particles are there. But you're not looking at it like, oh, you better take this one. This one, I don't know all the particles, so.
I know, I understand.
Not calling myself a scientist.
Right.
But you see, in neutrality, there is a multi-level of appreciation, being perceptive, being able to watch and listen and pay attention to what's happening, not single-focused, single-mindedly, which we're also trained to do that, but this is being aware of everything that's around you and giving it all appropriate attention. So you're not separated from it. It's a wholeness. When you're neutral, when you're in the neutrality, you are recognizing that there are many perspectives, that there are many things going on. I mean, we can just look at it like, okay, are daffodils better than tulips? They come out at the same time. No, they're all gorgeous. So it's that kind of a perspective that really makes it so that, can you imagine being in any part of your life where someone can embrace the neutrality and they are actually simply listening to you? They're not judging, they're not trying to help you make a decision, they're not giving you any guidance, they're in the space with you as you share who you are.
We'll go back to what I think we both have said before, and that is that's a hard one for a lot of people to show who they really are.
Well,
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can understand that if you're showing who you are, for the most part, we have people saying good, bad, yes, no, ugly, pretty. I can give you all the contrast, right?
Right.
And so you're not being appreciated, or even if it's not appreciated, you're not being seen with what you're saying. And if we're looking at all of us, okay, everybody who is listening right now has different ideas, different opinions, different ways of living, all of the differences that we can say. And I'm appreciating, in neutrality, I'm appreciating and excited about all the differences.
Right.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah.
Because the universe is created in those differences, not by going, oh, wow, this sunshine beam is better than this sunshine beam. No. It's like, look, we're all here. We're all different. The planet is what it is, and the planet is making everything different. No two roses are alike. And here we are in the stream of neutrality. You are looking, recognizing, and being present and centered. And it's obviously, in a way, it's very Buddhist.
Okay.
Meaning you're centered and you're part of the universe. I'm looking generally speaking, not specifically speaking, right? It's
right.
more Zen oriented, right? And you can sit there and you can go, okay, I'm looking outside and I'm feeling the shifts inside. I'm appreciating this conversation, and I'm appreciating the view. And no landscape is better than another landscape, and no sunburst is better than another sunburst. And everything is related. Everything is divine, and I am in this moment with it all.
Right. Right.
And I know it's crazy. Because so few of the people that we know can be in this neutrality.
Right.
Because we're trained to choose. We're not trained to look at all of it.
What?
And appreciate all of it.
Right. Interesting. I find that this aspect of, and of course this whole process, if I'm again going through this process myself of understanding all of these things, is oh, I see. It's one of those aspects of the willingness to see things in this light. I mean, that's really all of these streams of consciousness come down to, is the willingness to see these streams of light.
Yeah.
And sort of yeah, you're right. And how do I want to put this way, and sort of I don't know, give them the honor, if you will, that they are due. Being grateful for the fact that they are there and that we can access them.
Yeah.
That's an important aspect of it too, isn't it? It's not just enough to access them, but it's always a good idea if we can say, "Hey, thank you. I appreciate the fact that these have been provided because they've really helped me in my life."
Yes. And being able to recognize the streams, all of 12 streams, were created so that we could connect with the divine and not get completely blown away and non-functional. Many people who have enlightenment experiences, however they get there, there's a whole bunch of time to get reintegrated back into the body, back into the moment, etc. Because the divine is so expansive, you can't describe it except by saying the divine.
Right.
Because if you were going to describe it, it would take 10 years and you wouldn't be done. Because it's huge. It's huge. So when we're looking at each different stream, it is a gateway for us to connect with the divine and appreciate the energies through a particular vibrational perspective. So when we look at the stream of neutrality, you get to be and appreciate everything. You get to have the aspects of the divine appear, and it's whole, and it's serene, and they all resonate in different ways, and you can be the center point, noticing everything, watching the relativity of each different thing, because no matter what we say, everything is related or it wouldn't exist. And then we get to be in that space. And even a glimpse of that space on a practical level or a spiritual level is amazing. I mean, to be able to be in your family and not argue and not choose sides and listen to what everybody says and honor and appreciate who they are and where it's coming from, whether you like it or not, life-changing.
Yeah.
Looking at the world like that, life-changing. We all have our, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have opinions, but we all have our opinions, but a lot of times they become so choice-focused that we don't get to see other things, and some of those other things may actually benefit. And if they don't, by the neutrality of everything, we may see things that can happen that you wouldn't if you were choosing a position.
Mm-hmm. And that is an interesting perspective too, because what it flashed in my mind was an interview I did a couple of years ago actually, with an author talking about, and again, we're not going into politics, so I'm not going there, about narcissism and the narcissist, and that as bad as we might judge that individual for being a narcissist, this particular author said there's lots that you can actually learn from this person, because a narcissist actually gets things done. You may not like the way they get them done, but they get things done. And it's kind of what it's I know that sounds a little strange, but that's really kind of what you're talking. Yeah, it does. But that's really what you're talking about is learning from these different individuals, regardless of what their personality types are, narcissist or OCD or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know,
or you know, not even looking at the negative, looking at the positive. Many of us would not understand a fully enlightened human being and the way they live.
Mm-hmm.
We might aspire and connect and be in the higher level of frequencies, but they're looking at the world in a whole other way because they have a different perspective on being human. So it's all different ways, but when you're looking at neutrality, you can feel your connection with the divine. You can feel the brilliance. And you can also look at each person and see those things within them. But even beyond the person, because obviously we're looking at it because we are people, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see levels of truth and harmony and goodness in the world because you're coming from the vibration of neutrality. And it's not just an emotion where you're passive and just watching. It is a place of, let's just say, recognition.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to see. You're able to notice. You're able to recognize what is going on.
Right.
And most of us, you know, in the world anyway, and you're noticing, but you're checking off boxes as you do to see if it's important enough for you to pay attention to, or do you need to, or, you know, did I miss the right-hand turn, or whatever those things are, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And here we are, participating fully, being gracious and open, but watching it and respecting whatever is happening so that you're centered within yourself with a high degree of attentiveness.
A high degree of attentiveness.
Yes.
Interesting. It is a challenge to speak to that type of person, but I think it's essential, and this is just the way I have phrased it. You put your spin on it, if you would, Lumari. Thank you, teacher, for teaching me whatever it is that they're teaching you. How to be, how not to be, how to say, how not to say, how to do, how not to do, whatever it is. And when you use the example of making a left turn or a right turn,
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that I am finding myself more and more, and I think this is helping me, realize when I see somebody else not functioning in the way that I think they should, I have to remind myself that I have been distracted too. I am them too. And that does seem to take some of the, shall we call it, the sting out of the judgment.
Yeah.
And then you don't put out that energy. And you know, and you obviously can go on and live what I would consider to be a much happier life, you know?
Well, yeah. And if you're not, the stream of neutrality, one thing that's really interesting about it is you're not triggered. You're already paying attention. So you're not triggered. That doesn't mean things don't come up, but triggered means something happens and you react.
Mm-hmm.
This is being in a space of like unbiased understanding. You're noticing it, you're unbiased, you're recognizing what's happening, and you're treating the people, the situation, or whatever it is, with attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're looking at it from this perspective, if we do have to take actions, you actually have much more information than anybody else taking the same action.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've noticed all of it. You haven't checked it or crossed anything off. You've looked at all of it. And then if you're making decisions, and we're just using this again as examples, you have more information than most people ever would.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in a flow in the universe, and you're not taking a position.
Right, right. It's, once again, it's not easy to be in that frame of mind,
No.
okay? But it seems to be essential. I mean, it really does. It seems to be very important that we do that.
Yeah.
Without it, I mean, I remember when my best friend told me that one of our, well, it sounds weird, one of our bullies, one of the bullies that we had when we were in grade school had passed away.
Mm.
And I got to tell you, there was only a flicker of a moment of, so to speak, of joy in that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went away because this person died so much younger. I mean, they died at the age in their 50s. I'm 63. I'm still here. And they're gone. And they have moved on to whatever it is they've moved on to.
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah. And
no, it's a really interesting space to be in, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because somebody who was intentionally against you, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't buy a round of beers.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. It is one of those aspects that we, again, it's like opening up your eyes to see what is there in terms of, or who is there. And do you find yourself, and does this sort of help too when you go, okay, what are they going? What is it that brought them to this place? You know, this time, this situation, what events transpired to bring them here?
Some of the times for me, instead of trying to track back where they're coming from, I really like listening in the moment. So if I can, listen in the moment without a judgment or everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't, in that moment, I don't want to know their past and why they are that way. I want to listen to what everybody else is saying and just be in the space of listening to what they're saying.
Mm.
There's a part of me, I know, if somebody's saying something, off, I'm going to look at it and know that it's off, but I don't have to react.
Right.
I can notice it.
Well, we have a lot of things that are going on in our world, and we have a lot to react to if we choose to. And that's the other part. If we choose to, and that's part of what we do here. We give you choices and knowledge of those choices that'll make your dreams come true. And we hope that you will. We hope that you will avail yourselves of that and make some new choices. Take into consideration this stream of neutrality. I often say when talking about some of these things, LUMARI, what's it going to hurt? What's it going to hurt? You don't have to do it. It's not something like amputating your leg or something. Yeah, I know. Ew. Sorry about that. I should have used some other example. But it's nothing permanent. I have 2 teeth that are missing out of my head. Right now it feels a little permanent, but I know it's not. It's not a permanent thing. Let's talk a little bit as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story with LUMARI. LUMARI.com is the website. We're talking about the streams of consciousness, and we're talking about the 12 frequencies. We dove. I never can get the tenses right on that one.
Okay.
Into the invocation of the stream. Now, the energy pattern of the stream of neutrality. Basically, the streams of neutrality move to simple or single to single out similarities of being and the vibrational point of reference from the individual has a compatible resource, a resonance, I should say, to another essence or aspect of creation. So could I break that down and say like attracts like, so to speak, on a vibrational level?
Yeah, or creates like, or vibrates like, or appreciates like. You could do all of those.
Interesting.
Because as humans, we look at each one differently.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah.
As much as we would like to just see the similarities, unfortunately, we are distracted by our five senses. It was interesting. I was watching, I don't know if you are at all a watcher of awards programs, but I was watching the Grammys on the Sunday night they were broadcast. And I was looking at all of the different individuals and the way they looked and sounded and the types of music that each one of them produces. Even if they were in the same genre, it was different, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But one of the things that struck me, and you talk about trying to see the similarities in things, many of the artists, female in particular, who performed on stage that night, the songs they sang were songs I would best describe as songs of empowerment. Taking, if you will, I don't want to say taking back their power, but recognizing that they always had it and they, so to speak, pulled away the veil from the rest of the world, telling them they don't have it. And they realized, hey, get out of my way. I'm coming through. I do have the power, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
I found that so interesting as I was watching and listening. And then thinking about one artist in particular who, and I it's like, there's a part of me that, you know, when you hear the criticism, I go, why don't you leave this person alone? What is your problem? But again, it kind of goes back to one of the other streams we probably talked about too, that there are some people that just, they're so miserable in their lives, they've got to bring down other people to their level instead of trying to raise themselves up.
Well, and I think that some of those people don't know about raising yourself up.
Yeah.
And some of those people, because it's a conversation not about power, which most people will use that word, but I would say about domination. That makes it much more difficult for them to see other things, because when you want to dominate, then you're really not interested in anything else other than being the one who's at the top.
Yeah.
And that's very different than having the best-selling album of the year.
Mm-hmm.
It is crushing everybody else so you can be at the top. And all of those different conflicts and everything else, we all know they're there. But when we're looking at the other frequencies that we want to bring into this world, the really delicious part of this is that the more of us who can resonate to these higher vibrations, the less other people will be able to dominate our world.
Yeah.
And that is really something, because, you know, all the news stuff and everything else, if you really read or you really listen or you go into detail that's in respected media, you find out things that you don't even want to know that people are doing.
Yeah.
And they're actually doing it. It's not make-up news.
Yeah.
On the other hand, when we raise our vibration to other levels, they will not have access to us. Our vibration expands to other people, which allows them to see the higher vibration so that they can come to us, and we shift the planet. And it's why we're here on this planet now.
Yeah.
Why so many people are talking about not the fourth dimension, but the fifth dimension and the higher frequencies, and moving into the age of Aquarius, which was an old song back in the day, and all of these other things that we can bring people together. And one of the wonderful things is, if you're going back to the stream of neutrality, if you're watching, even with all of this stuff going on, you're seeing countries and people coming together, even though they're not from the same organization, thought process, etc., but they're coming together because they know this is higher than that.
Mm-hmm.
This vibrates higher. This has a beautiful connection. And if you really look into somebody's eyes, unless they're really, really crazy, you automatically have that connection.
There was one instance last night, or the night that I watched, the Sunday night,
Mm-hmm.
where the person who did win Album of the Year
Mm-hmm.
made one of the most profound statements, I thought, that her, and I'm not sure if she used the word happiness, she might have used joy, excitement, wasn't in, and she held up the award, wasn't in this. I thank you for it. I'm grateful, but my joy, my happiness is in finishing a song, in working out and getting the choreography with the dancers right. And the list went on of all of the things in the work that she does.
Yeah.
And I thought, thank you for somebody finally saying it is the work. Now, I've often wondered, well, where's my Super Bowl ring? Where's my Emmy, Grammy, Tony, whatever, Oscar, whatever. But A, those moments are fleeting. And B, there's a statement that comes right after that. What have you done for me lately? Okay? It's nice to be recognized, but yeah.
It's a beautiful thing that she said. And also looking at somebody like her who is so smart. Because so many people with that amount of recognition and attention and everything else get pulled aside, and they can't be their centered self. And she is. And she said something really magnificent that, is a thank you and a gratitude and a teaching.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, with what you're saying, the statues on the shelf in your room don't define you.
No.
When I was a sculptor, I got grants from all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent sculpture to Switzerland that's in some museum somewhere. And a variety of other things from, the National Endowment, et cetera, local, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that happened.
Yeah.
It was really, really exciting to actually have a review of my art in London. On the other hand, is that influencing me today? It's part of my being, but it's not like I'm going to say, and you know what else I did? It's not the statue on the wall. Who are you being?
Yeah. That's kind of funny in a way, too, because when this radio station moved, on the counter bordering the reception area and the lobby, there was this award that I was given by one of our programmers a year after they had started, and they were on for, I think, 14 years. And they labeled it the Slide Pot Award. And
don't know what that is.
And during this, well, they took it's a sliding volume control module. It's a small little thing. Okay. And they stuck it in the wood upright, so you slide it up and down, so it's now vertical.
Gotcha.
And they would play with it, and they say, today's performance, you're down here. And then, today's performance, you're all the way up here.
I
that
got
kind
it.
of thing,
I
right?
got it. Yeah, okay.
And I appreciated the sentiment. I really did. I really appreciated the acknowledgement. But it does go back to what you just said. Okay, well, they got another program next week. What am I going to do then?
Yeah.
And then the week after that, and the week after that, and so forth.
And in the space of all of this, what's really wonderful is that we can be in the space and we can just go, okay, I won it or I didn't win it. Am I in the joy of my being? See, because if we just tweak the stream of neutrality, and you go, you can be really happy about receiving appreciation, recognition, awards, etc. But that's not who you are, and that is not what happens. Because if you look at it like over time, right? So that quarterback that won his whatever award it is when he was 25,
right,
and he's 55. And people are still going to go over to you with that award because you could kick better than anybody else. That doesn't mean anything now.
Yeah.
But in that energy of appreciating all of it, seeing all of it, now you can be centered in your being. And when you look at being centered in your being, it's magnificent.
And that actually adds greater credence to the phrase, though there are those who make it mockingly, I'm just glad to be nominated. You know what? I would just be glad to be in the room amongst all those people and all that creativity. Hope that I could soak some of that up, that kind of thing.
Oh, you definitely have to go to the Grammys.
Yeah, or even at the very least, what would really be cool is to work with some of these people in the studios and so forth and so on. Let me ask you before we wrap things up here. Let's talk to us, because I like this part of it. What is it that we can look for out of the stream of neutrality? What kind of influence can we expect as we allow that stream in?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is what I would call creative peace. So not peace as silence, which that is how it's mostly described inwardly, but everything coming together in a way where you can still be in the present without being distracted or pulled. And so you get to appreciate the moment, you get to appreciate your life if you resonate with neutrality or learn to resonate with neutrality, which is part of this. And I have other things on my website that you can download, vibrational meditations that go with these. But when you're there, the grace that you have within yourself and the peace of being is huge, because now you're not comparing yourself to anything else around you. You're being present and attentive, and you get to see it. So it's like you're walking in an arboretum, and the paths are all over the place, and there's trees from everywhere. If you've ever been to Boston and they have the arboretum there, it is amazing. They have so many thousands of lilacs from all over the world. So when Mother's Day comes, and they call it Lilac Sunday, right? You go there, you can smell and see lilacs from China, from Japan, from everywhere around the world they brought these so that they would be in the Arnold Arboretum, so that there would be a whole lilac area. Every single one smells the same. They're all beautiful. And you, in your neutrality, get to walk and appreciate them all.
Very cool.
And that is what how I will describe the stream of neutrality for us.
Go to lumari.com. That's the website. We encourage you to spend some time there and connect with Lumari. Get a copy of the book, Streams of Consciousness. It's available via Amazon as well. And someday soon it will be Audible, but we'll let you know when that happens. And we thank you, Lumari, for joining us again. And we look forward to next week. It's going to be a monumental day for Tell Me Your Story.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Richard, so much. It's an honor and a blessing to be with you and to be speaking with your wonderful audience. Thank you so much.
And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love to Lal. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy. Smokey, I will see you on the other side. And to my friend Zorro, aho, aho.